All those in favor?
Aye.
And the next item would be bills and communications. There's no, this is the only one we got. We didn't get it.
That's what I can look over. No, it's been revised.
On Friday, that's the one I just handed you, Ed, and it shows not 10 total payments in the amount of $12,826.71.
So can I get motion to pay the bill?
Make motion?
I get a second. All those in favor? In regard to the expenses, I just these are all loans, right?
Yes,
Two Queens is a recently closed loan.
Right.
Three Franks is a recently closed loan. Agrarian Feast is a loan from 2021 that was dispersed.
Finally,
This was the final disbursement. And Julio will, under new business, bring up that again. North Branch Cider Mill is a brand new loan, and under the recent changes that you've made here, half of the professional fees and part of the clerk, well, the clerk's a pass through, so these are all long related.
it's that motion included everything.
Yeah.
The revised one.
Yeah. The next item, staff report.
does anyone have questions on the staff report?
Okay.
I do not.
Questions? Okay, new business. Extending the sales tax abatement for Catskill Hospitality. Through January of 2024. This is how many of these have been quite a few, haven't there?
This project was approved in 2018, so it's been almost 5 years. I had some further correspondence, which I think I included in your packet with, this is the Hampton Inn behind McDonald's in Monticello. I had some further correspondence with the project, and they elaborated a little bit on the request that they need to finish maids closets and they're still working on landscaping, lights, and those are items that are required by Hilton, the corporate entity. So they would like a request for another extension, for another 6 months. I would ask the board to consider.
This is the last extension, right?
Yeah, and I will reaffirm that with them because it's been a long time. I would like this to be the last extension.
They've done an amazing job there, though.
Yes.
All of my people stay there regularly, at least a few dozen, at least 2 or 3 people a week. And it's been consistent right through. I mean, so that it's a top notch. Generally, it's like, once or twice, and then all of a sudden you hear complaints. Right? People come every week, 4 or 5 days, and they stay, and it's great.
Is that a motion?
Yeah, emotion. Along with
Can
it.
I get a second?
Second.
Would you like anything to say?
Yeah, I've never been there myself.
Very good. All those in favor? Aye. Next resolution is Bay Hospitality, AKA Villa Roma.
This is an application for basically the same project that was approved in May of 2022.
Yes.
I don't know much more about it other than the prior efforts to finance the project at various places have all failed. And I'm told by a lawyer in Holmesdale, who we do business with all the time, that Wayne Bank will be allowing this purchaser to assume the existing debt due to Wayne Bank and adding another, I believe, $2 million on top of that. We have always been careful in terms of pilot on this project, so that they're only going to be paying pilot payments on what they actually accomplish versus the $5 million in future improvements that they don't have funding for. So the resolution is substantially similar to the resolution that was adopted in May of 2022, but with a lesser financing.
Can they come back if they go with above the 2 and they get to the 5?
Well, you're authorizing by this resolution, you're authorizing whatever financing they're able to achieve.
Okay.
And there'll be another resolution when they get a bank commitment letter at a future meeting, which could happen after the mortgage closes, because this has the generic language in it that says you're authorizing mortgage tax abatement on whatever they can borrow. But we'll have a more specific answer when they get a commitment.
The public hearing was this morning. And, I know I attended. It was uneventful.
It was, just for your information, the town of Delaware clerk was the only person besides Ed and me who attended. And she just had some general questions about the project. And asked for clarification on whether we will abate the mortgage tax, which we do consistent with our policies. And also asked about a proposed pilot agreement. And I clarified with her that the real property tax abatement will only be on the improvement value, again, consistent with our policies.
And the other item I'd like to mention is that the cost benefit ratio analysis indicated 6.49 to 1.
The range we would expect for a hospitality property.
Can I get a motion on this resolution? Carol, second?
I'll second.
Second?
I was told it was talking.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, next item, moving right along, the next item is the Homestead LLC, also known as a North Branch cider mill. I also went by that this morning.
Okay, Homestead LLC operates a small specialty retail store in Livingston Manor. There is a couple that are the principals in these entities. Tom Roberts from the UK and Anna Aberg from Sweden, now both relocated to Livingston Manor, moving up in the world. So this is a straightforward application with one tiny amount that is a little bit different than most. It's a mixed use property, so it is a tourism property and will qualify under our tourism uniform tax exemption policy. There will be a small amount of retail, and Jen can amplify for you the extent of the retail from the standpoint of both floor space and budget, or not.
It's actually principally retail.
Okay,
The cider mill in North Branch will be reopened and operated to press apples for cider. So that will be a tourist facility as well as retail sales. And then there's a country store, if you will, home goods store, a garden shop, I believe, a tea room, so a dining establishment, a couple of professional offices, But the bulk of the project, from what I can see in the application, in terms of the floor space and the project budget, is retail in nature. So consistent with the general municipal law, IDAs can only assist retail projects if they meet certain criteria. So in this instance, the criterion that I believe this project could meet is that it will provide goods and services that are not otherwise available in the local area. So there are other shopping opportunities, of course, in the area, but perhaps nothing quite like these that are offered. So if the board makes that finding, then the next step is that the county manager has to confirm that finding, which he has. We have a letter from him that if the board finds that this will offer goods and services that were not otherwise available, then he will confirm that finding and we can assist.
Well, this is a one of a kind cider mill, right?
Yes.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's, I don't think that's a stretch even by, at all.
No.
I think
So that's
that-
a motion? Well,
Yeah.
at the
I'll
hearing
make
this
it.
morning,
Julio, can you tell us about the hearing?
Oh, yes, I held the hearing at 10 a.m. in the town hall, and the only attendant was the town supervisor. He had a few questions about employment and the financial impacts to the town, but generally wishes that the project succeeds and fulfills its promises.
This had a housing component of it of some sort.
There's a part that there's 3 parcels with the cider mill, a parking lot, and what was a barn. And Victoria Lesser, who used to own it, converted part of the barn into like an apartment. And part of that apartment will be converted into like a space where Anna, who's an interior decorator, will have like all of her samples and information versus having to carry it around in the trunk of her car. And then there will be one small apartment that most likely would be occupied by the general manager of the project.
And the hospitality appears to be. This one,
North Branch cider mill and
Got it.
barn.
sorry about that.
This is what quick peek at it looks like.
I've been in there many times.
second.
I'll
Howard.
second that.
Okay. All those in favor?
Put pictures in the window.
Okay, now, the agenda says we have an executive session to discuss litigation.
Yes, correct.
Is there anything else before that we need, that it's not on this agenda, no?
Public comment.